for the answers I knew all along. I lost myself, we all fall down.
What's going on, guys? It's Realms, and I got your reality update. First, I just want to say that I'm gonna run through some of these articles kind of quickly because I got a lot of interesting news to go through for you guys. Put together quite a show. Nah, but on all seriousness, looking at the first link, martial law in October, 386,000 foreign troops in U.S. now by Kevin Allen, mirrored by Debbie Grace. Make sure you go over there and subscribe. And he talks about the FEMA Region 3 and all that good stuff, but he also brings up one of the things I brought up in my other video about how FEMA is sending over 300 school systems in the United States a 3-day emergency set or kit for each student in September. And they should be arriving any day now, folks. And he says, and I urgently agree with him, that you shouldn't send your kids to school in October, at least for the first couple of weeks, just to be safe, because FEMA might kidnap your kids and bring them to a FEMA camp, and then you're forced to go find them at the FEMA camp, and they won't let you go, folks. Alright? Now, if you don't know what FEMA Region 3 is, I got this link here that breaks it all down. And you see here, 15,000 run troops in Baltimore by October 1st. All this by October 1st. All these FEMA purchases by October 1st. Also has 11 million antibiotics to be delivered to FEMA Region 3 by October 1st, ordered by the CDC. And I also cover how CDC ordered 2.79 million vaccines of radiation sickness and influenza. And I put that in this video here. Kenyan Mall attack, Obama meltdown, CDC doses. Alright, so if you haven't seen it, make sure you go check into that. But looking at an interesting thing and a link and a connection I want to put together for you guys real quick. As you see here, all this is by October 1st, right? Guess what else happens on October 1st? Comet Ison flies by Mars on October 1st, folks. Right here, this is by NASA. It says we'll pass within 0.07 astronomical units from Mars, about 6 times closer than it will ever come to the Earth. 6 times closer. Alright? Now, you guys got to realize that the military and all that, they worshipped Mars or Ares, god of Mars, or the god of war, ever since pagan days, folks. And you guys remember this, right? Where this soldier here threw a puppy off a cliff in Iraq. And this happened also in Mars, you know what I'm saying, in 2008. And he just threw the puppy off the cliff, folks. Alright, so tell me, why is that the reason why they're making sure everything's ready for October 1st? Is because Ison is passing by Mars on October 1st, folks. Alright, so make sure you check into this video. He also talks about all these troops. You know, as we see here, we have at least 15,000 Russian troops. You know, they're not supposed to be here in the United States already. Alright, so I have all these links down for you guys below. Now, interesting thing that the U.S. soldiers or the U.S. military will have no leave allowed through September 28th and November 5th. That means that martial law could happen between these dates, folks. Alright, and as you saw, that soldier threw the puppy off a cliff, that was a sacrificial kill. Alright, so keep that in mind, folks. Up next, checking the situation in Kenya. They say finally at least 62 people have been killed, and all the hostages have been freed. And also, at least 3 Westerners were among the militants that perpetrated the Nairobi mall siege, Kenya foreign minister said on Monday. Alright, now, if you guys didn't realize this whole Kenyan thing was a false flag. Alright, Kenya actually means horn of an animal, like the little horn of the Bible. Alright, now the Grok Swan does a great breakdown on this. I urge you to come over here and check this out. Kenya Mall shooting, Illuminati Freemason symbolism. The little horn is coming, folks. And he shows how the area around Kenya, see if I can find it for you guys real quick, is shaped like the thing that he covers all the time in his channel, the it, or the clown, or the antichrist spirit that's in all these people. Alright, now let me get to that real quick. As you can see here, folks, this is Kenya. Alright, and he does a great breakdown on this. As you can see, he has a clown face, and even the mall looks like this clown face, folks, with a little V on the side, showing the scales of justice, or the fifth age coming. Alright, all these high profile events that you see happening around the world that gets global attention, they're all false flags, folks. And like I say, we're living in a false flag reality ever since time itself was created. Because remember, where God exists is timeless, and that's where we need to get to, another timeless state, folks. Alright, because when Adam and Eve were created, they weren't like, oh, in 1 hour we're gonna go eat lunch. No, they didn't have no perception of time. You gotta remember this. Time was created as soon as Adam and Eve sinned, and that's why they certainly had to die, because they ushered time into their reality by doing that. You understand?
I just found out there's no such thing as a new world. Just a lie, you got to rise above.
Up next, Oregonians warned to prepare for the big one. Roads cut off, 5 years, no electricity for 3 months, no gas for 6 months. So if you live up in that area, folks, expect some major earthquakes. You know, we're going to be seeing major earthquakes no matter what all over the world soon. But it says here, it's due any time now, folks, for a major earthquake. A geologist with the Oregon Office Emergency Management told an overflow crowd Friday in Medford. So all my people, all my subscribers that may be in Oregon, take heed, and you got fair warning now to get the hell out of there. Alright, up next, Super Typhoon Usagi threatens Taiwan, northern Philippines, and Hong Kong. It seems that 25 people have died, folks, and I'll get into that next. Up next, before I get into the typhoon, it says here, study sees a higher risk of storms on the horizon. Yeah, no S, Sherlock. And it says by the century's final 30 years, the study forecasts the eastern United States could experience severe thunderstorms on average of nearly 7.5 spring days, an increase of almost 42%. A 15% increase forecast during June and July and August. Well, you can cut 15 years off of that, because there's probably only 16 years left in the world, folks. So they're really telling you, they're really mainstream. This New York Times is basically telling you what's going to be happening in the next 15 years, folks, not the final 30 years of the century. Alright?
If heaven and hell decide that they both are satisfied, illuminate the nose on their vacancy signs. If there's no one beside you when your soul embarks, then I'll follow you into the dark.
Now, taking a look at some incredible photos from Typhoon Usagi, it seems it killed 25, like I said, and it's the harshest storm to reach the Western Pacific this year. Typhoon Usagi hit Hong Kong on Sunday, canceling more than 370 flights and shutting down one of the world's busiest seaports, folks. Now, I also got some breaking news just in. It seems heavy gunfire explosions reported inside Nairobi's Westgate Mall. Even though all the hostages are gone, the rebels over there, or those terrorists, or whatever you want to call them, are still putting up a crazy fight, folks. Up next, no ceasefire, vows Syrian rebel leader. And this ceasefire was proposed by Assad's army, because they seem to have run into a little stalemate over there, because the rebels are fighting Al-Qaeda as well as the regime. But the journal Salim Idris says, we are not going to have any ceasefire with the regime. And he says they are trying to hide chemical materials and chemical weapons. This lying regime cannot be trusted, and we will continue fighting, he says. So heads up on that, folks. Looks like it's not gonna cool down anytime soon. Also, talking about different troops and stuff, troops could face pay delays if government shuts down. So for all you servicemen watching, if you're watching my video, looks like you're fighting a crooked war made by a crooked government, and now you're not even gonna get paid for it. So what's the use? You might as well jump on a banana boat and head back home, folks. And it says here, on Monday, all 1.4 active duty personnel and 800,000 civilians were informed the department is now preparing for a shutdown if a budget deal with Congress is not reached. Alright, so heads up on that, guys. Also, talking about shutdown, 10 ways a government shutdown would affect their daily life. And I'm going to read these real quick. It says, vacation all I ever wanted. Need to get away? Well, you can't. At least not to national parks or national zoos or national museums. They will be closed. That's 368 National Park Services sites closed. Millions of visitors turned away. Holiday celebrate. Don't come to work if you're a federal employee. You're on furlough. So you won't get no holiday pay or nothing. Also, I won't back down. The good news is that the men and women in uniform would continue to keep you safe. The bad news is for them that they're being paid in IOUs, like I just said. And another bad news is that they're all the way across other part of the world, folks. If you drive a car, I'll tax the street. You may be thinking no functional government, no need to pay taxes. Think again, the man would come to continue collecting taxes. Oh, that figures. They'll probably tax you in hell. Wait a minute, Mr. Postman. You know your whole neither snow nor rain, nor heat, nor gloom, nor night thing. Apparently, the U.S. Postal Service works through shutdowns as well. Sorry, you won't catch a break from your junk mail. Also, I want a new drug. Says the Republicans want to defund Obamacare in exchange for funding the government, but the Health Care Act at the center of this storm would continue its implementation process during a shutdown. That's because its federal funds aren't dependent on the congressional budget process. Pass the ammunition. Not so fast. The shutdown would affect the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. That gun permit you wanted, process wouldn't happen anytime soon. Money, that's what I want. Well, if you own a small business and need a loan from the government, you have to wait a long time for that, folks. Also, anything dirty or dingy or dusty, Oscar the Grouch's company of one. No one loves trash, but if you live in Washington, expect to pile up on. If there's a shutdown, there wouldn't be anyone to collect your garbage. Washington budget has to be approved by Congress. So anything that's spent in Washington, District of Columbia, has to be approved by Congress, folks. I'm proud to be an American. Perhaps the biggest hit would be to the collective psyche. American is the largest economy in the world and a beacon of how democracy ought to work. To watch elected lawmakers engage in high-stakes staring contests with no one willing to blink is no way to do business, folks. So, not only does the government run out of money on October 1st as well, the nation is set to hit its debt ceiling and go into further default in mid-October, folks. Also, we got here 2 men charged in Chicago Park mass shooting that wounded 13, including a 3-year-old, have been arrested, folks. So that's good news there. And it's funny how there was 13 people shot and 13 people killed in the Navy Yard shooting, folks. And as you see here, pathetic. Obama used his speech at memorial service for Navy Yard shooting victims to campaign for gun control. Figures, I said this was going to happen on that Navy Yard false flag exposed video that I did. And so it says President Obama called Sunday for a transformation of the nation's gun laws, saying last week's deadly shooting at Washington Navy Yard echoes too many other killings across the United States. He said, our tears are not enough, our words and prayers are not enough, we are going to have to change. And it's funny that he did this during a 21-minute eulogy delivered at the Marine Barracks. 21, Agenda 21, folks. And we're seeing bombs explode at an unprecedented level, folks. Bomb at Sunni funeral in Iraq kills 14. And it's the 3rd day in a row this has happened, folks, and it seems it's just getting crazier and crazier until you know what happens next. And finally, half man, half tree. This man's condition baffles even the best doctors. There's a couple videos down here if you guys want to check it out as well.